sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
The Twins wrap up a 7-game road trip this afternoon, and they're looking for a series win over the Tigers in Detroit. And you'll see plenty of pink this afternoon. It's become such a great Mother's Day tradition all throughout baseball, where you'll see pink batting gloves, pink bats, wristbands, shoes, sunglasses for the players today, all to help raise awareness for breast cancer research, and to honor all the moms out there in the stands and watching on TV, and all the players who are honoring their mothers today as well. Samuel DeDuno will make his second start of the season since being moved out of the bullpen. He'll go against Robbie Ray for the Tigers, who's just making his second career big league start, called up from AAA earlier this month. Good afternoon from Comerica Park, and happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there. DeDuno will hope to help bring his team a series win today, and Ron Gardenhire expects to see more consistency out of his starter. He said especially because DeDuno is now in that starter's routine, pitching every 5th day. Our Mall of America scouting report on DeDuno comes courtesy of pitching coach Rick Anderson, who said that DeDuno needs to be aggressive. He said, I told DeDuno, even if you walk people, you still have to be in that attack mode. And he also said DeDuno can't try to guide the ball to the plate because that's when it loses its life. And DeDuno relies on that movement in his pitches. When he gets that ball to jump, that's when Samuel has his best stuff. And DeDuno's pitch count will hopefully be a little higher, around 80-85 this afternoon. Dick and Jack, DeDuno is making just his second start of the season. Our right fielder making just his third.
Yeah, he showed up here in Detroit, and so far Chris Parmelee has done well. Just a couple of games, of course. But I think, Jack, what we've seen is a more aggressive Chris Parmelee at the plate. And maybe it's not a coincidence that he's starting to get some hits as well.
Well, the one thing that he is very aware of is that he was taking a lot of called third strikes, and that he's got to go out there and swing when he's behind in the count. And so far, so good for Chris Parmelee. I think it's a real good opportunity right now to be in there on a consistent basis because of the way the outfield's banged up. So he's going to get some at-bats.
And he's in the lineup again today as the Twins hope to leave Detroit with a series win and open up a homestand Tuesday with a little momentum.
A couple years ago and having my mom being there for me now and try to take care of her and talk to her every day.
Mother's Day is probably my favorite holiday to play on. My mother had breast cancer. She's been in remission now for about 10 years, so it's something that's close to my heart.
I'm a son that's been a recipient of a mother that had cancer, so I try to cherish it and enjoy myself out there and dedicate that day to her.
There's a few days throughout the year that I think guys really look forward to, Mother's Day being one of them.
She was the backbone and taught me a lot of what got me to where I'm at today.
What my mother did to help me get to where I'm at right now and the sacrifices, it speaks for itself.
Thank you for everything. I love you. I'm going to keep working hard for you. Teach me to be the right kid.
Definitely need to take care of your mom because she's the one who brought you into this world.
Playing on Mother's Day is important because we all are able to remember where we came from, who we were raised by, and what our parents, especially our mothers, meant to us.
Mom, just want to tell you I love you, and I appreciate you being there for me through thick and thin. Thanks again.
Hi, Mom. I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for everything, and I love you. I hope you enjoy your day.
Mom and Lisa, Happy Mother's Day. You guys are the greatest, and no one else can do what you guys do the way you do. So I love you guys, and Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I just want to take a little bit of time to thank you for everything that you did for Holly and I. We love you a lot, and I wouldn't be here without you. So have a great Happy Mother's Day.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Maddie. I want to wish you both a Happy Mother's Day. Mom, hope you have a great day. And Maddie, I hope this is your first Mother's Day that you'll never forget. I hope you have a great one, honey.
Hi, Mom. I just want to say Happy Mother's Day. I know you're watching. Hopefully I'm making you proud. I love you and hope you're having a good day.
This is for all the Twins wives. Happy Mother's Day. And all Twins fans, Happy Mother's Day. And to my Carol, love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Hey, Mom, I just want to tell you Happy Mother's Day, and thanks for all that you do and have done. I love you so much.
And it's the risk of being redundant from Jack Morris and Dick Bremer. I hope everyone has a very happy Mother's Day, yes. And we have a beautiful weather here in Detroit for the last game of this series and the road trip. The good people of Michigan have suffered through a terrible winter like we have in Minnesota, North, South Dakota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And so everybody enjoying the notion that warmer days are ahead. The Menards batting order for the Twins. Brian Dozier leading off. Joe Mauer back in there as the designated hitter. Ron Gardenhire suggesting Mauer might be the first baseman Tuesday night against the Red Sox. And then Plouffe, Colabello, Pinto, Eduardo Nunez, Chris Parmelee, Aaron Hicks, and then Eduardo Escobar.
They will be facing the left-hander Robbie Ray. Robbie's making his second major league start today. He picked up a win in his first start against the Houston Astros. He went 5 innings in that game, allowed 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 5, and walked no one. So this guy throws strikes. It's going to come after the Twins.
Northland Ford defense for the Tigers. Rajai Davis back in left field. Austin Jackson in center. Torrey Hunter and right. Kelly's moved to the infield. Romine Kinsler up the middle. Cabrera at first. And Avila behind the plate. Brian Dozier hit a 3-run home run in the ball game yesterday, swinging that pink bat, and he'll get things started here today. Up and away, ball 1.
It's the first shin guard I've seen that was pink. That's unique.
Even the shin guard. And just noticed that myself. A high fly to center field. And Jackson over a few steps. Dozier retired 1 away. Behind the plate today, Clint Fagan, Marty Foster, Alan Porter, Joe West on the bases. Pretty close to perfect, mid-70s. Some rain expected later today, but we hope to be done and on our way back to Minnesota by the time the rain starts falling here. Joe Mauer, a single and a walk in the ball game yesterday, back in as the designated hitter today. At the knees, a strike. Joe missed the road trip up until yesterday's game, taken out of the ball game at Target Field a week ago today with some back issues. Foul, 2 strikes. Good park for Mauer to return to. talking about it yesterday. He, for whatever reason, this is not known as a great home run hitter's ballpark, particularly for someone with Joe's swing. But here at Comerica Park, he's hit 10 home runs. He's only hit 12 at Target Field.
Must be something about this park that he enjoys. They've always had a fairly good pitching staff,
Yes,
so that doesn't make a lot of sense either. But and Joe's hits his share of home runs to left field, which is further than Comerica here in Comerica, or excuse me, further than Target Field.
Right. You can see the 10 home runs. The third highest number of home runs in a ballpark. The Metrodome, of course, then Target Field and Comerica. Off the plate, and it's 2-2. Middle, cut off by the shortstop Romine. He sets and fires, and Mauer retired. Good play by the Tiger shortstop, who was shifting Mauer up the middle. He made the play, 2 down.
And he still had a little bit of range there. Andrew Romine, like you mentioned, was playing slightly up the middle. And that ball right over the bag, and Romine was able to get to it. Nice, easy throw over to first. Could have been a base hit without that shift.
2 down, and now Trevor Plouffe. Foul to the screen, 1 strike. Twins have gone 4-8 in their last 12 ball games and have fallen 3 games below the 500 mark. Won the series opener in Cleveland and then lost the next 3. Won the series opener here Friday night and then lost yesterday. Up and away, 1-1.
I'm always curious to ask the hitters that get some hits on Mother's Day using a pink bat if they're going to use it the next day or until they run out of hits.
Well, if I had a 2 or 3 hit game with a bat, I don't care what color it was, I'd probably want to come back and use it again.
And that's my point.
2-1. Hit hard to right field. Hunter retreating. And it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Robbie Ray. Comfortably by 5 games over the Chicago White Sox. Brad Ausmus managing really at any substantial level anywhere for the first time. He's got a good ball club. Here's his Menards batting order. Ian Kinsler, followed by Torrey Hunter, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez with a big 3-run home run. Both he and Cabrera homered yesterday. Kelly, Jackson, Avila, Romine, and Davis.
He'll be facing the right-hander Sam DeDuno. He is making his second start and his 9th appearance of this season. See Sam's record, not the greatest, but hopefully he's going to change that here today.
And Kinsler will lead things off. DeDuno got off to a rough start in his first start in Cleveland. He gave up 4 runs in the first 2 innings and then did better. There's a drive to deep left center field. Off the wall. It's a double for Kinsler to start the ball game.
Well, Sam's just trying to get ahead early in the game. Throwing that fastball that tailed a little on the inner half, but pretty much belt high, and Ian Kinsler put a charge into it.
And that'll bring up Torrey Hunter. Hunter's done really well against the Twins this year. Inside, ball 1.
I always thought it was a little more difficult when you come into the ball game as a starter. You take your wind-up, warm-up pitches, you're kind of ready to go, and then that first guy gets on. You have to go right to your stretch, and it makes it a struggle early in the ball game.
That hit to Duno, picked up by Dozier, and Hunter's retired. Not sure where that got to Duno. He's going to be checked here by Dave Prumer and Ron Gardenhire.
We'll probably get to see it here on the replay, but I think it got him in the leg.
Maybe even the bottom of the spikes. And Kinsler moves to third. And Cabrera will come up with a runner at third and 1 out. Ron Gardenhire said they need DeDuno to give them a good ball game here and pitch some innings because of what happened yesterday.
Well, your natural instinct is just to get out of the way right there, and Sam does a little dance, but in retrospect probably saved a run by knocking it down with his foot.
Here's Cabrera. Twins playing the infield back for 2 reasons. It's early in the ball game, and the Twins like their infielders. They don't want them to suffer the consequences of playing in with Cabrera at the plate. One strike. Cabrera hitting a big 3-run home run to the opposite field in the second inning yesterday. The first home run allowed by Kyle Gibson this year. High drive to deep center. Hicks with room for the catch. And tagging and scoring is Kinsler, and the Tigers get the first run of the game. A sacrifice fly, 29th run batted in for Miguel Cabrera. We've already seen him in action here in this first inning, but here's the Northland Ford defense with Hicks in center, flanked by Nunez and Parmalee. Plouffe back at third base after getting yesterday off. Escobar, Dozier up the middle. Danny Santana not in the starting lineup today. Chris Colabello at first and Josmil Pinto behind the plate. Tigers putting the barrel of the bat on DeDuno's pitches here in the first inning. A solid double to the fence in deep left center from Kinsler. Hunter hit a smash. Cabrera a deep fly ball, and now Victor Martinez takes strike 1. One and 1.
We talked about it this whole series. Detroit Tigers have a very potent offense. Cabrera and Martinez, I think, are the 2 key power guys in their lineup. Sam DeDuno with the leadoff double will be lucky to get out of this inning.
Well, Off-speed pitch gets a swing and a miss.
Just one run. I think he'll take that. Regroup and see what the Twins can do against Robbie Ray.
And off the plate. Martinez hitting his 8th home run of the year against Michael Tonkin with 2 men aboard. One hopper to Dozier. A leadoff double by Kinsler leads to the first run of the game.
Enjoying the game today, Dick and Bert, and it is Silvana's birthday today. Let's hope Chris gives her a nice present here at his at-bat.
Hope so.
A drive to center field. Going back is Jennings, and it is gone. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mommy. Another present.
You knew it. You knew it.
He owes me one.
Way to go, baby.
That's awesome.
Well, we are showing that in the hopes that on another special day for Chris Colabello's mom that he might have a similar result here. Leading off the second with the Twins down 1-0. Colabello homered in Cleveland. He'll be followed by Pinto and Nunez. In the dirt, ball 1.
Be a little hard to hit that one out, but maybe the next one might look a little better.
Colabello leading the team with 30 runs batted in. Obviously, he's cooled off quite a bit, but we just mentioned that here's Miguel Cabrera with 29 runs batted in now, and in the RBI department, Colabello's got him beaten by 1. Colabello grounds out, and you'll hear about it from Alex Avila, who was heading up the line. Colabello flung his bat back in disgust, and he helicoptered it, and Avila had to duck out of the way. 1 down.
Natural reaction for catchers, not so much at the major league level, but in the minor leagues and all through college and high school, you're taught to follow the runner up the line, kind of back up in case of a wild throw.
You don't expect the bat to come
well
twirling over your head.
I guarantee you Chris Colabello wasn't really thinking about throwing it back at the catcher.
1 strike to Josmiel Pinto, and now a ball.
That would be something a pitcher would do, maybe, but
And did famously once.
Yeah.
Mr. Clemens and Mr. Piazza. Down and away, 2-1. Twins obviously getting their first look at Robbie Ray. They'll get another lefty Tuesday night. The Red Sox are starting their series with Felix Dubron. Foul back and out of play, 2-2.
Gardy wanting to get Josmil Pinto into the game as a catcher today, give Kurt Suzuki a day off. Suzuki probably did not want that, but Gardy understands the importance of rest early in the year for later on in the summer.
Knocked down by Ray. And out number 2. That'll bring up Eduardo Nunez. Twin single game tickets are available and affordable for every budget this summer at Target Field. Special deals are available for every day of the week, from dollar dogs to student night discounts to specials for entire families. You can check them out at twinsbaseball.com or 1-800-33-TWINS. Nice homestand coming up after a day off tomorrow. 3 with the Red Sox. Boston's only trip to town, and then 3 with the Mariners. Seattle's only a trip to the Twin Cities. Robinson Cano and the Mariners coming. There's a pop-up straight up in the air. And Avila with the catch, and Robbie Ray has a pair of 1-2-3 innings. Of the day today. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag NorthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in a broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Don Kelly will lead off the second, and DeDuno shaves the outside corner with a fastball, 1 strike. Mentioned in DeDuno's first start, he gave up a couple of runs in the first to the Indians, a couple of runs in the second. There is a foul, 0-2. Thought that ball was fouled, maybe not. Fouled back. Kelly played left field. By this point of the game yesterday, had already figured prominently, not in the scoring but in the non-scoring. He made a great play on Kurt Suzuki's drive to left field, perhaps took a home run away from him. Now it's pulled foul.
Let's take a look again at that great catch that Don Kelly made in yesterday's game. And you've been talking to a lot of outfielders, Dick, about the significance of feeling the track out there called the warning track.
Finally had a chance to talk to Al Kaline, who was about as good an outfielder in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s as there was. And I asked Kayla, and I said, now, did you feel the warning track under your feet when you played? He said, yeah, that was the rule. He said, when you were retreating on a ball, and for Kayla it was in right field, you would feel the warning track under your spikes, and you knew you had 2 steps. And it was really important, he said, early in his career, because up until he'd played 5 years or so, they didn't start putting padding on the outfield wall, so you really needed to be aware of where the fence was. But Torrey Hunter said he's never felt the warning track under his feet. That's a foul ball. Aaron Hicks and Sam Fuld have said essentially the same thing, that they use their peripheral vision and just a sense of where they are on the wall in relation to the wall.
I've got to believe that Al was referring to 2 steps, meaning when he was going straight back,
right,
you know, perpendicular to the wall. And when you're running into gaps, you know, you might have more steps, but I think you also have more peripheral vision then to sense the wall.
3-2. Duno gave up a run after a leadoff double. Kelly grinding out an at bat here. Over the mound. Dozier backhand, sidearms his throw. Nice play by Brian Dozier. Flipping to Colabello for the first out of the 2nd inning.
Getting rid of the ball very quickly on that play.
We were talking about this the other day. Now that ball was chopped in front of home plate. Dozier dug out the hop. Made a nice play here. Threw him out. Now that ball was taken out of play. Home plate umpire Clint Fagan, halfway to the mound, flipped a new baseball to Duno, who flipped it to Plouffe, who flipped it to a fan. We'll never see it again.
Oh, it got dirt on it. It's got to affect the way that ball travels once it comes out of the pitcher's hand. And I do agree with Bert in one aspect that it's all about the hitter. Let's just make him happy.
Strike 2 to Austin Jackson.
It's amazing to me that hitters could hit a ball with a little dirt on it for about 95 years, but in the last decade or so they throw them all out.
I have to remember now to fold up your soapbox when we're done here today and get it back to Minnesota.
You got to love the changes, the way the game has evolved.
1-2 to Jackson, and Pinto glides to his right. There's a call, 3rd strike, with Duno coming back and stealing that inside corner, his first strikeout of the ball game.
Take a look at the special baseballs that are being made today. They've got the pink laces on them, pink ink on them. Wonder if Bud had to sign it with a special pen, or if that's just a stamp.
Pink is the color of the day. Brown with dirt. That we can't have that. We got to take the baseball out of play. 2 down. Here's Alex Avila.
Good pitch there from Sam Duno to get Austin Jackson.
1 strike. Duno really working quickly. This is about as rapid a pace that I've seen him. He's waiting for the hitter rather than the other way around. 1-1.
That's always good. It's usually an indication that he's throwing strikes. It's when pitchers aren't throwing strikes and misfiring that it seems like the pace of the game slows down.
See, now he's waiting for Avila, who backs out of the box. And 2.
Sam gets that breaking ball of his working. It's going to be a tough day for the Tiger hitters. He has got a very, very good breaking ball. And he has most success with when he starts it out about knee high. It actually breaks out of the zone, but hitters can't lay off of it.
Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. This will be the 30th pitch for Duno.
And if you can get him out, that'd be a good count. 15 an inning average. You can live with that.
And now up and in, and it's 3-2.
Right there, you could tell that Sam tried to overthrow that ball, tried to hurry it a little too much. You still have to have that arm release point with that breaking ball in the same spot.
And he misses up high and issues his first walk. And that'll bring up Romine. DeDuno ended up throwing about 2 strikes for every ball in his start against the Indians. He'll be back here, take on the Tigers again in a little more than a month, about 5 weeks from now. Missing inside, ball 1. And it will be interesting to see whether Romine is still shortstop. The main reason that Stephen Drew is not signed with anybody is because Drew, the team that signed him, would be forfeiting a draft pick up until the time of the amateur draft, which is before the Twins come back to Detroit.
And that's a good, I guess, guesstimation of why he hasn't been signed right now. The real question is, are they going to be happy enough with Andrew Romine's job? They're waiting on Iglesias. Jose Iglesias will be their everyday shortstop when healthy. But he won't be in the lineup at all this year, apparently.
Look at the teams that could use a shortstop. I suppose the Red Sox could maybe use some help there. Tigers would have to head the list, losing their starting shortstop before the season began. Off the plate now, 3-1.
In this case, Dick, I don't think it's a money issue. It's, Mike Ilitch has shown that he is willing to spend whatever it takes to get his team in position to win a world championship. I think it's more of a giving up that draft choice issue.
Roller. And Dozier completes a hitless inning for DeDuno. 4 men come to the plate. It's 1-0. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealers today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. 1-0 Tigers. Minnesota sports fans, make sure you stay up to date with all the latest events around the area from your favorite hometown teams to the Fox Sports North girls. We've got you covered. Log on to foxsportsnorth.com. Click on the More tab for information. 6 up, 6 down for Robbie Ray. The Twins will send up Chris Parmelee, Aaron Hicks, and Eduardo Escobar. Jason Kubel getting another game off with an off day tomorrow. Chance for Kubel to stay off his legs and hopefully come back with a rejuvenated bat Tuesday night. Kurt Suzuki not playing. Danny Santana also on the bench to start the ball game. Parmelee takes outside a ball, 3 hits, 8 at bats. He has struck out once, but it was a swinging strikeout, and I don't think that anybody is too concerned about Parmelee swinging and missing. Checked his swing, took a strike, 1-1. Ray trying to work quickly. Out in front of the off-speed pitch, 1-2. He came to the Tigers in the Doug Fister trade, along with Ian Kroll, who's been a nice addition to the Tiger bullpen. Fister just made his first start for the Nationals the other night. Fouled away.
If Robbie Ray develops into what they think he can be, it would be a great addition and totally makes you understand there's a lot of people in Detroit not happy to lose Doug Fister. But that can be erased in a hurry when young kids climb aboard and help out.
Bounce to Kinsler. Easy play for the first out. And it'll bring up Aaron Hicks. Hicks jumping back onto the roster here in Detroit after spending 7 days on the concussion disabled list. Ron Gardenhire strongly hinting that while they will be patient with Hicks, if he continues to struggle at the plate, he would not be afraid to put Danny Santana out in center field. Santana's provided the lineup with a spark and stinging the ball from both sides of the plate now. He got a hit as a right-handed batter yesterday. And in talking with Santana today, he did in the low A ball play out in center field about 15 games, he told me. Not unfamiliar with the position at all. The Twins are hopeful that Hicks will figure it out and start getting some hits. He's really struggled from the left side of the plate, hitting just 125. Marginally better. He's hitting 219 as a right-handed batter. And he takes low, 2-1.
I think it's safe to say that Gardy's seen a lot of youth in the last few years. He's had a lot of young players come up, and in general, I think we've seen some excellent defense. You've seen rookie mistakes, obviously, but it's the bat in their hand that'll keep them in the big leagues more than anything else, assuming that they can make the routine plays defensively. And that has been the tough one, because you know that kids get over anxious. There's the jitters and all that, the sophomore jinx, on and on and on, but ultimately they've got to hit to stick around.
Ray tried to hit the inside corner but missed. It's 3-2. Hicks with 80 at bats on the season, 27 strikeouts, 16 walks.
Be interesting. I'll have to ask Gardy what his ideal tolerance is. I don't know. I mean, there's a big difference between a guy hitting under 200 and a guy hitting slightly over.
That'll bring up Eduardo Escobar, the shortstop. But the story of this road trip has been the outstanding play, outstanding hitting of Danny Santana. He's shown tools, the likes of which the Twins haven't seen at short in a long time. Or should I say, from their shortstop. Speed and a quick bat.
You know, he doesn't throw sidearm like the guy I watched all last year, Jose Reyes. But they both have a tremendous arm speed, arm strength. Danny's got a little better arm slot, I think.
Outside a ball. And the forgotten man in all of this isn't Pedro Florimon, but it's Eduardo Escobar, who has continued to hit better and better with more playing time.
And it's, you know, he's forcing Gardy to keep him in the lineup somewhere. He's finding a place for him almost daily now, because he's done a great job everywhere he's played.
2-0.
Maybe center field was a little week, but you know, infield-wise, he can cover. He can play short, second, or third. He already likes what he's doing with the bat in his hand.
Just 13 at bats from this side of the plate, 3 singles.
He enjoys this game. Around the batting cage today, he was really having fun with his workout.
Swing and a miss, 2-1, and I still go back to what Robin Ventura said 2 years ago when the White Sox traded Escobar to the Twins to get Francisco Liriano. Said the clubhouse was never the same in Chicago after trading this guy. He was, if not the most popular teammate in the Chicago clubhouse, one of them, and the White Sox really missed his personality. 2-1, and now Hicks is picked off. Cabrera's throw in time to get him. Ray focusing on Escobar and picked the right time to try to pick off Hicks, and he got him.
Hicks may have been going on first move, and like you say, Robbie Ray just choosing the right pitch to throw over there.
2-1 to Escobar. That takes care of the 1-out walk. Fouled away. It was Escobar, of course, who hit his first home run of the year in the 10th inning against John Axford to get this road trip started on the right foot. And now Axford has been taken out of the closer's role for the Indians. They will go with a closer by committee plan, which almost never works. This one hit to left center, and Escobar strokes a hit. He'll round first, and he's digging for second. And the throw not in time. Escobar collapses at second base. So far tonight, I hope you've been watching, we've seen maybe the 2 worst slides into second base you will see in one game. Hicks looked like he didn't know whether he wanted to go in head first or feet first, and I'm not sure what happened here.
Well, again, watch the way Eduardo Escobar gets out of the box. He's watching where the ball's going to land, and immediately he rounds first base with the intention of not stopping at all, because he knows that the left fielder, the center fielder are taking their time to get to the ball. And what I can share with you is I was teasing him in batting practice. I said, "You going to get a couple more doubles today?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Can I count on it?" He said, "Yeah." So there's
so far,
one.
So good. Dozier with the tying run at second and 2 down. Dozier with a fly ball to center his first time up. And a strike, 1-1. To center, and Jackson retreats to end the inning. Twins get their first base runners in the third, but it's still 1-0 Detroit. did not teach them how to slide into second base like this. And Escobar going in feet first and then jamming his feet and almost falling off the base. It's 1-0 Detroit. Rajai Davis will lead off the third against Samuel DeDuno, and he moves his feet with the first pitch. Davis not in the lineup yesterday, back in today.
It's been a good addition for the Tigers this year. Pretty solid defender in left field. He can really run. Coming into today's game, he's hitting .313 and leading the team in stolen bases.
And a strike, 2-1. Jim Leyland was honored here yesterday, and he met with the media, and a lot of people made a big deal of the fact that this Tiger team, the first they've had here for a while without Leyland managing, 3-1, doing a lot more running, and it's because of the personnel. It's not so much the managerial style. I don't think Jim Leyland never really had a guy who might steal 40-50 bases.
No Rajai Davis, no Ian Kinsler.
Soft liner to Dozier, 1 away. And that'll bring up Kinsler. Kinsler drove a double to left center field. Went to third on a ground ball, scored on a fly ball. Each team with a double in the game. Tigers got a leadoff double and turned it into a run. End of the month, the Twins will get a look at the Texas Rangers at home, and they will see Prince Fielder playing for the Rangers, presumably. Ball one. Far you'd have to give the edge to the Tigers in the big contract swap. Fielder owed a lot of money for a lot of years, same with Kinsler, but Kinsler has drive to left, and Nunez, a little adjustment there, got there, out number 2. A line drive outs here in the third. Kinsler put together type of numbers he put together with the Rangers. Fielder hasn't done that yet for Texas.
Well, the Tigers have control of Kinsler now for the next 5 years, and certainly a good contract. You know, money-wise, he's making a good amount of money, but it's not so crazy that he wouldn't be tradable if the right thing came along. I don't think they have any intention of that right now. They want him.
Here's Hunter. And Hunter's in the last year of his deal with Detroit. Torrey left the Twins, 5 years with the Angels, now 2 years with Detroit. Inside, 1-1.
Talking to Torrey the last couple of years, I think there is nothing he yearns for more than a championship. He's been on good teams, but he wants to retire with a world championship ring in his hand someday.
One of the reasons the Tigers brought him on board. They figured there were at least a couple of years left in his career. They have designs of getting to and winning a World Series soon. DeDuno again zipping one inside to Hunter.
Torrey's never like that.
2-2. A slow breaking ball lifted towards center. And it's a 1-2-3 third. You got a nice pitchers duel developing here. It's 1-0 Detroit.
been awesome. You know, everything you could ever ask for in a mom. You know, very supportive, being there for me at all times. You know, I don't know how she made so many events throughout my life. You know, working full time and all that, especially 3 boys. But definitely want to let her know that we appreciate that, and couldn't ask for a better mom.
Well, Joe Mauer will lead off the 4th inning. He'll be followed by Trevor Plouffe and Chris Colabello. Mauer with a bouncer to short his first time up, hit it right over the mound, over the second base bag, but Romine ranged to his left to make a play. 1-0. The Twins can do, see if they can have some better at bats with their second look at Robbie Ray. Fouled away. 1-1. Talked about it in the pregame show. As good as the Tigers have been in recent years with their starting rotation, if there's been anything lacking, it's been a reliable left-handed starting pitcher. Now they've got 2 left-handed starters. How reliable they are remains to be seen. Slow breaking ball left up high. Ray getting a chance because Sanchez has got the blister issue, right. And then Drew Smiley's been moved into the
Drew Smiley did a great job out of their bullpen, and more so than anything else, I think, because they wanted to see if they could get a left-hander in the rotation. He was brought into the starting rotation, but there's a lot of people in this organization think they should have never messed with him. Let him stay out and do it, because he was doing a great job in his role in the bullpen.
Last year, the Tigers finished 1 game ahead of the Cleveland Indians. There's a high fly to left. Davis, bunny hops, makes the catch short of the track. 1 down. Trevor Plouffe hitting in first. Let's check in with Marnie Gellner.
And Mother's Day has special meaning for Trevor. When he was a freshman in high school, his mom, Diane, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's healthy now. She's a survivor. But Trevor said seeing her go through that was really tough. But I also saw her beat it, and that's pretty amazing. And Trevor has given her some of the pink gear that he has worn in previous Mother's Day games. And Diane is now an oncology nurse. She brings some of that to work and displays it on the floor where she works. And that really has significant meaning to her and to some of the cancer patients who are there. So Dick and Jack, that's pretty special.
Absolutely.
Good story, and tough times, I'm sure, for Trevor. Having your mom go through that, and we're so happy that everything is fine now.
Off-speed pitch, hitting the outside corner, 1-1 to Plouffe. And now 2-1. Talking about the Tigers last year winning the division by 1 game over the Indians. We just saw Cleveland, and we saw how vulnerable they are to left-handed pitching. So potentially work very much in Detroit's favor to have a left-handed presence. The Twins don't have that in their rotation right now. They've got an all right-handed rotation. But the Tigers might be well served having a lefty or 2. Figures that Ray will not be in the rotation once Sanchez returns. Here's a high drive to center field. And Jackson with plenty of room to make the catch. And the fly ball out. There have been a lot of those. 2 down.
Robbie Ray just kind of on cruise control, doing a great job. First time the Twins have seen Robbie Ray. So far, just 1 hit allowed.
Colabello with a bouncer to short. Subject to left-handed pitchers. When the Twins face the Yankees in about 3 weeks, they might not face CC Sabathia. Yankees put him on the disabled list today with knee inflammation. 1-0 to Colabello. Now fouled away. Orioles put Matt Wieters on the disabled list with an elbow issue. How serious it is remains to be seen. Last weekend when the Orioles were in town, right after that, Wieters had an MRI done on his elbow. He determined then he would not need major surgery, but now today they put him on the disabled list. Colabello takes up high, 2-1.
Both of those players impact players for their respective teams?
I should say so. Orioles leading the Yankees by a game and a half beginning play today. Colabello with a foul ball. 2-2. Colabello off to a torrid start. Now the batting average down to 255, and I think if it settles there, the Twins will be just fine with Colabello. They never imagined he would be getting as many at bats as he's gotten this year. Swing and a miss. It's the end of the 4th inning. A strikeout for Ray, his first, and the Tigers lead 1-0. Twins controlled Cabrera and Martinez, but Saturday afternoon they each stepped up big time and delivered big hits with men on base. Cabrera's second inning 3-run home run followed at the end of the game by Victor Martinez, who also clubbed one. And that sets up our carsoup.com trivia question. Which two players hold the all-time the all-time highest RBI total for a duo in a single season? I had the rug pulled out from underneath me halfway through the question.
I already knew what the question was.
Did you? Okay.
So, I was going to guess Maris Mantle or Cobb, Gehringer, Greenberg. I don't know.
I think they're all pretty good guesses. 1-1 to Cabrera here. He'll be followed by Martinez and Kelly.
What's kind of even further to the point, though, is that Sam DeDuno has done very well against both these guys. Miguel Cabrera coming into today's game, just 2 for 10 lifetime, hitting 200. And Victor Martinez, hasn't got a batting average yet. He's 0 for 7 now against Sam DeDuno.
DeDuno missing inside again, 3-1 to Cabrera.
Hasn't faced either one of them that many times, but it's been a good start for Sam.
DeDuno made only one start against the Tigers last year. And a base hit to left. Actually 2 starts, one here and one at Target Field. Cabrera, a leadoff single in the 4th, just the second Tiger hit.
Well, he works the count in his favor, and then Sam leaves one right out over the middle of the plate. You just don't want to do that to this guy. And he drives that ball with authority right between the shortstop and third baseman.
We'll bring up Victor Martinez. Fox Tracks presented by Jeep. Martinez hit a ground ball to Dozier his first time up. Martinez in the last year of his deal with the Tigers. So potentially this Tiger roster could be significantly different next year if Torrey Hunter doesn't re-sign with them, if Victor Martinez doesn't re-sign with them. You've got the whole Max Scherzer situation. Tigers tried to lock him up long term, but were rebuffed. Down and in, 2-0.
Well, let's put it this way. It's going to take a lot of money to keep them all.
Money's not been an issue here in Detroit.
No, it hasn't been. You look around, you see a full house again today. There's just so much excitement about Tiger baseball in Michigan.
There's Dave Dombrowski that you saw there looking on. 2-0 to Victor Martinez. And Aduno back into the stretch for the first time in a little while. Having control issues. Now he fell behind Cabrera 3-1 and had to come into him, and now it's 3-0 to Victor Martinez.
Just doing hitters a favor when you fall behind. They become so much better when they're ahead in the count and you're behind in the count.
And a strike. And again, it's one of those cases when it's done effectively, as we saw Friday night from Phil Hughes. It's so evident what the key is. It's to deliver strike one and get ahead of the hitters.
It was pounded in my head by all my coaches for many, many years, but it wasn't until probably halfway through my career that I realized the importance of it.
Pass Dozier into center. Cabrera will check in at second.
So Victor Martinez gets his first hit off Sam Deduno, and now all of a sudden the Tigers have a little something cooking.
Not a well hit ball, but to the right of Dozier. And under his glove. And that'll bring up Don Kelly, who also grounded out to Dozier his first time up.
Don Kelly's probably got the best numbers of any Tiger against Sam Deduno. He came in today's game hitting 3 for 6, a .500 batting average. Playing third base today to give Nick Castellanos a day off.
Twins looking for a possible bunt here. Missing inside, ball one. Since moving into the rotation, and it was just a few days ago in Cleveland, Deduno working with Pinto for the first time as a catcher. Kurt Suzuki caught him in Cleveland. Deduno falls behind Kelly 1-0.
Well, we talked about Pinto catching Deduno, and I asked Gardy today if the fact that he lost Chris Herman, the third catcher, would he consider playing Suzuki and Pinto in the same game? Because those are both his catchers. And he said absolutely he would.
Popped up. Escobar retreating. And now giving way to Hicks. Took control, one away. No infield fly rule called because Escobar never really got underneath it. Owning Twins season tickets provides a lot more than a guaranteed seat. Season ticket holders get a variety of benefits, starting with 2014 All-Star Game ticket purchase priority. Call 833-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com because there's a season ticket plan that fits every fan. The manager of the American League team, the All-Star Game this year, will be managing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Target Field. John Farrell. Those Red Sox won the World Series. There's a first pitch strike to Austin Jackson. You participated in how many All-Star games?
5.
How many times were you the starting pitcher?
3.
Once, as I recall, in place of Scott Erickson, correct?
Yeah, that was in Toronto. Scotty would have probably been the starting pitcher, and then he got hurt just prior to it.
Liner to center, Cabrera to third, Hicks with a retrieve and the flip going to third. And the Tigers put 3 singles together so far here in the 4th to make it 2-0.
DeDuno had struck out Austin Jackson in his first plate appearance. This time with 2 runners on board. Austin Jackson gets this pitch, a hanging breaking ball, stays up in the zone, and he was ready for it. Cabrera rounds third and scores the 2nd run of the game for the Tigers.
First and second, Alex Avila, the batter, drew a walk his first time up. .63 pitches for DeDuno, only 34 strikes. There's the first pitch, strike to Avila. Now, as I recall, in that All-Star game, Scott Erickson, his elbow was giving him some trouble, and so he did not start in the All-Star game. You took his spot, and then didn't you take a line drive off your arm?
Yeah, and it was kind of a curse. Scotty always wore those long socks, you know, the black socks all the way down to his ankle.
It gets by Pinto, and both runners will move up. That's Ron Gardenhire today, how Pinto was doing, developing as a catcher, and he said he's doing much better, but this was a pass ball, like on DeDuno's curveball.
Yeah, he just did not see the ball into his glove, which you're taught to do, and sometimes you're peeking at the runner and not watching the ball all the way in.
1-1 to Avila, and now DeDuno might be trying to bear down here and strike him out.
Avila, one of the few hitters not using a pink bat today.
That hit him, and that will keep a run from scoring right now. And DeDuno's all over the place here in the 4th inning. Big curveball, and now Rick Anderson's going to try to settle him down here with the bases loaded and 1 out.
We've seen this with Sam, and I don't quite understand it, that he can be cruising along. See that ball, it hits the dirt first, but still gets up and gets Alex Avila on the knee. But he'll be cruising along, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 pitches just all over the place, and I'm sure that really troubles his pitching coach.
Quick trip to the mound by Rick Anderson. All right, curse of the Black Sox. What's that?
Well, anyway, so to honor my teammate Scott Erickson, was deservingly in line to start that game, I told him I'm going to wear my socks like you do. I'd never done that before. And of course, Bobby Bonilla hits one right off my foot, and I mean to tell you, it's the only time my whole career where I probably should have let the tears go, because I was holding them back. It was hurting that bad. And
for some reason I thought you got hit on the arm.
No, I got hit on the foot.
Okay.
Right on top of the ball of my foot, and it hurt.
Corner infielders in, and Romine takes a strike on the outside corner.
So I told Scotty when I got back to Minnesota that was all because of those silly black socks.
Big spot here now for DeDuno. The Tigers have already added a run. They've got the bases loaded and just 1 out. DeDuno's coaxed 3 ground ball double plays. Oh, that hit the runner. And the runner is out. A smash that got Jackson. And Martinez will have to retreat to third base. So not a double play grounder, which might have been the result. Here comes Ron Gardenhire to. And so is Paul Molitor saying, hey, can we get a double play ruling here? The ball was hit right at Escobar.
And yeah, that was a type of ground ball that routinely would be a double play. I don't know how. I really don't know the rule on this.
I'm going to look it up, because the appeal from the Twins dugout is that it is within the umpire's prerogative to rule
Here comes
a double play.
Joe West is slowly working his way over to this argument. He is the crew chief, so Gardy doesn't even want to talk to him. He knows the the history between the two of them.
Gardenhire saying, well, the ball was hit right at the shortstop. It was a tailor-made double play grounder, and it hit the runner.
Well, rarely do you get to see a good argument anymore. Gardy's getting heated up here. And there it is. Joe West doing what he's done so many times. It's almost like he antagonized Gardy into this one.
I'm just curious why, at third base, he even entered the discussion to be the primary umpire in the discussion. He is the crew chief. But we will, as soon as we can, try to get you the rule.
We'll get to see the ground ball here. You can see that at second base, Austin Jackson was breaking towards third, and the ball clearly hit him easily, but it was a quick ball that you can see right here that the runner was barely getting out of the box, and they would have had to play at second, which would have led you to believe that there is a chance for a double play there.
So the manager is gone. Romine will get credit for a hit. No run will score. Avila advances to second base. And Rajay Davis, the batter, with the bases reloaded, and now Plouffe on the very next pitch throws to first, and the Twins get out of the inning with just the one run allowed. Well, the Pepsi fans of the game hoping that the Twins can come back down from a 2-0 deficit. The rule, as I've quickly during the break here tried to find it in the rule book, Rule 708, paragraph F, a runner is out if he is touched by a fair ball in fair territory before the ball is touched or passed an infielder. The ball is dead. No runner may score. No runners advance, except runners forced to advance. That was the case with Avila. He had to go be advanced to second base on the base hit. There's nothing in the rule that I can find that would allow the umpire to assume what I always thought was the unassumable, a double play. If you can't do it as an official scorer, I don't know. I can't find evidence in the rule book yet that an umpire can call 2 outs when only one runner was hit by the batted ball. But yet that was Ron Gardenhire's appeal, and before Gardy got off the warning track, Paul Molitor as well was holding up 2 fingers from the Twins dugout. 1-2 from Ray to Pinto.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what Gardy was arguing, because you can't assume a double play. But Joe West baited him into getting his blood pressure up a little bit, and that was the end of his day.
If in the, here's another section here, 709 paragraph F. If in the judgment of an umpire, a base runner willfully and deliberately interferes with a batted ball, or a fielder in the act of fielding a batted ball with the obvious intent to break up a double play, the ball is dead. The umpire shall call the runner out for interference and also call out the batter runner because of the action of his teammate. In no event may bases be run or runs scored because of such action by a runner. So the argument might have been whether Jackson intentionally
blocked the ball or got hit by the ball.
Well, anyway, we'll continue to scour through the rule book to try to explain what just happened. All we know is that the manager was ejected for the first time this year, 68th time in his career. And curiously, maybe not unexpectedly, but yet curiously, it was Joe West who was the third base umpire who ejected him. Pinto, Nunez, and Parmelee here in the 5th inning. And now outside, 3-2. Twins have just one hit, Escobar's double, with 2 out in the 3rd. Back to the pitcher again. Second time that Pinto has grounded out to Robbie Ray. 1 down. All right, now you tell me if you think, you the viewer, think that Austin Jackson intentionally did what he did.
Here's Austin Jackson.
And you can see the second base umpire, Alan Porter, right there making the call. I mean, it happened so quick.
Yeah, I don't see any evidence that shows that he was. To me, he's looking at third base. He's taking off and looking at third base.
It was a well hit ball. And had it not hit Jackson and Escobar hadn't been screened.
Here we go in slower motion. Again, Jackson just looking in, and I mean, he's moving. He's doing what he's naturally going to do and try to score on a base hit.
You'll see runners on a regular basis stutter step, stagger, delay, whatever, and then get out of the way of a ground ball to screen an infielder. In Jackson's case, it looked on replay like he was just trying to get up and get to third base. 3-0 now to Nunez. Ray almost walked Pinto. And now it's 3-0 to Nunez with Parmelee on deck. And a strike. Nunez waited, didn't get an immediate call from Clint Fagan. Ray was a strike thrower in AAA, and he has been a strike thrower here today. Just 1 walk so far. And that's through the hole. Nunez with a base hit. And that'll bring Parmelee up as the tying runner. Join the Minnesota Lynx and the Fox Sports North girls for the Dads and Daughters ticket offer. Sunday, May 18th against the Connecticut Sun for just $33. Fans receive 2 tickets to the game and a drawstring backpack. For details, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on the More tab for details. Parmelee with a bouncer to second his first time up.
Just the second hit of the game there. Eduardo Nunez picking up off of Robbie Ray.
One strike.
Robbie Ray did not allow a run in each of his last 3 appearances, 2 of which were starts down in AAA Toledo. That's 14.1 innings. That's going into today, and now he's got 4 in the 3rd innings of scoreless ball here in this game.
Foul back, 2 strikes to Parmelee. Twins trying to do something with just the second hit against Robbie Ray. Still very much in the game, down 2-0. The 2 wins on this road trip, a 1-0 win in 10 innings, and the 2-1 win here on Friday.
Good pitching.
And just enough hitting in those 2 games. Twins aren't in a position, with the lineup being what it is, to outscore anybody, much less the Tigers. We found that out yesterday. Twins got a 3-run home run, and it still wasn't enough. Bounced foul. Twins haven't hit well on this road trip with men in scoring position. They've had 50 at bats with men in scoring position, counting Dozier's 3rd inning at bat here, and they have just 6 hits. That's a 120 average by Minnesota high school math.
And that's a good indicator of their problems. Got to score with guys on base.
Outside 2-2. And you see it happen from time to time on a regular basis, I guess, when a team loses some key components in the lineup. The guys asked to fill in are able to do so, but for a limited amount of time. This is still a Twins team that has gotten a total of 35 at bats from Josh Willingham and Oswaldo Arcia. 2-2 to Parmalee. There goes Nunez. Parmalee strikes out. And Nunez is in with a stolen base.
Great jump right there by Eduardo Nunez.
Nunez with a stolen base. Parmalee striking out, 2 down.
You see, just going on first move, a lot like Aaron Hicks, where they just guessed right and threw over to first and doubled him off. But right there, Nunez getting a great jump.
Twins, who got a walk from Hicks his first time up, now hoping to get a hit from him. Down and in, ball 1. Even though the batting average is well below 200, the on base percentage is at 306, which still isn't good, but he's been able to get on base with some walks. Taking outside 2-0. Team on base percentage is 365, so Hicks well below the team average. 75 pitches for Ray.
See the pitches by inning.
What Hicks can do with his 2-0 pitch. Takes it for a strike on the outside corner.
Well, that was a good take. Sometimes a pitcher will make his pitch and you're in a count where you're just not looking in that zone, so you're better off taking it than try to chase a ball that you're not happy with, and that was one of those pitches right there for Aaron Hicks.
Three and one. Escobar on deck. Ray maybe having the type of inning that Duno was having in the bottom of the fourth in terms of his control. He's been behind a lot of hitters. Still came back to strike out Parmalee. Now 3-1 to Hicks.
25 pitches already in this inning.
To center, harmlessly enough for Jackson. And another runner left in scoring position. It's 2-0 Detroit. get home, and we'll be there Tuesday night. Bring your Circle Me signs, and if Bert circles you, might find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. Bottom of the 5th, 2-0 Detroit. A run in the first, another one in the 4th. Terry Steinbach, the acting manager. Terry actually managed a couple of full games when Gardy missed some time earlier this year. There's a called strike, 1-1. Gardenhire left to attend the funeral of Michael Hirschbeck. It was Kinsler's double that set up the first Tiger run. DeDuno misses the outside corner, 2-1. Tigers have gotten leadoff hits twice and turned each of them into runs. Cabrera single to start the 4th and scored the 2nd run for Detroit. This one it blasted to left field. Nunez going back. Big day for Ian Kinsler. A double to left center field. Now a solo home run. It's 3-0.
Making his mother proud on Mother's Day. Ball hard now twice. See this pitch right here from Sam DeDuno. And again, those balls typically go a long way.
And now Torrey Hunter. Missing inside, ball 1. Two and 0. Roller to short. Escobar over Colorado. Kind of got a little giddy over Danny Santana. Excited with what we saw, but fact remains, Eduardo Escobar has done a nice job defensively at short too.
He really has. He's been solid, really, at third base too. Any infield position. He might not have the arm strength of Danny Santana or even the initial step or two reaction time, but he's done a great job of making the plays he can get to.
Here's Miguel Cabrera, and the pitch sliced foul, 1 strike. Cabrera with a sacrifice fly in the first, a leadoff single in the 4th, and he ended up scoring. Wide of third. I don't think anybody was too concerned when he got off to a slow start.
Well, he's heating up here. You can see over the last 17 games, those are the impressive numbers that he's put up for the last 2 years.
2 strikes. And now a ball. Times that teams that have a good run of success can trace their success to front office's ability to pilfer a player from a desperate organization. That was the case with Cabrera. The Marlins were struggling and didn't particularly want to pay the going rate for Cabrera. That's essentially, I think, how the Tigers ended up with Max Scherzer too. Cabrera swings and misses, a strikeout. And going back a piece, that's how the Twins ended up with Jeff Reardon, getting him out of the Montreal Expos organization. The Twins needed a closer, and that eventually led to the Twins winning the World Series in '87.
Now there's Sam DeDuno throwing the good breaking ball down. Knee high is where it started and broke down almost to the ground. Cabrera just swinging over the top of it. Sammy picks up his first strike, the second strikeout.
Victor Martinez, the batter. Martinez backed up Cabrera's single in the fourth with one of his own. Strike one. Single runs for the Tigers in innings 1, 4, and 5. One and one.
Third pitch now for Sam, so he's had that issue and probably will for a while. He's a guy that throws a lot of pitches. Although he's only given up the one walk today, he did hit Alex Avila in his second time around.
Threw just 77 pitches in his 5-inning start against the Indians. Now more pitches, 84 total, trying to wrap up business here in the 5th in Detroit. And you might imagine that if he can take care of Martinez here, he'll be asked to maybe go one more inning. One and two. Nasty curveball and a really good hitter. Looked like he missed it by 8 inches. DeDuno gives up a leadoff home run in the 5th, but he strikes out Cabrera and Martinez to end the inning. It's 3-0. Of the road trip, Twins having to come back from 3-0 with the NFL draft completed. You can submit your questions on the Vikings and the draft to Brian Hall. We'll answer them in his mailbag at foxsportsnorth.com on Tuesday. Eduardo Escobar doubled his last 2 times up in yesterday's game and his first time up today. So he's got a little doubles string going. And he takes a strike.
Just 2 hits allowed for the right young left-hander Robbie Ray.
And reaching across the plate, he pokes it foul. Escobar hit his home run hitting out of the 9th spot in the batting order. 10th inning on Monday. 2 strikes. Missing. When the Twins won here Friday night, it was a rally started by the bottom of the order. The payoff was Suzuki driving in the 2 runs, hitting second. The fly to right, and Hunter jogging towards the line makes the catch right away. And I guess the point being that Middle of the lineup hasn't contributed much to a victory on this road trip. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Brian Dozier, high on some charts among American League second basemen. Major League second baseman, I beg your pardon.
Well, he got the big 3-run home run yesterday that gave the Twins a little hope, getting back within 3, but hitless here today.
Twins had a couple of at-bats yesterday where they had the tying run at the plate. They had just fell 1 3-run home run short of tying the game a couple of times. Dozier takes outside. Inside 2-1. All-Star game is still more than 2 months away. If Dozier improves his batting average, he could be a representative from the Twins. So a lot of it has to do with the competition. The guy who might be the best, the favorite right now to represent the Twins is Kurt Suzuki. Matt Wieters, who's been an all-star, but he's on the disabled list, might need elbow surgery.
Well, I can't imagine the guy that's playing first base for Detroit not leading the charge in votes.
Right, toward the hole. And Romine, I don't think ever had the intention to make a throw. He didn't field it cleanly, and Dozier's aboard with a 1-out single. Target Field is the place to spend time with the people most important to you. Groups of 25 or more are eligible for discounts on tickets and don't have to pay handling fees. So put a group together today and check out twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS. Ask about a Twins Target Field group outing. Dozier gets a base hit. Mauer will hit a ground ball to short and a fly ball to left. Wide of the bag. 1 strike. Let's try to do something with a 1-out base runner. 3rd inning that they've had a man on with 1 out. The only time the scorebook says they kind of bunched things together, they didn't really bunch them together. Hicks walked with 1 out in the 3rd, and then Escobar doubled. But by the time Escobar's double came along, Hicks had been picked off first. Cabrera to the mound to talk to Ray.
Just trying to think. Dick, maybe you can help me with this. The last time that Twins faced a left-handed starting pitcher.
No, I looked at it from the context of back-to-back lefties. I remember in the second Kansas City series, I think it was Bruce Chen and Jason Vargas.
Okay.
But it's been a while.
It's been a while.
That was back-to-back lefties. We'll try to figure that out. Breaking ball snaps over the inside corner. Two strikes to Mauer. Off the handle of the bat, foul. Vila was setting up outside, and Ray missed inside. And Reed warming up in the Tiger pen. Just looking at the schedule, and I can certainly check it during the next break if I have time. I'm guessing David Price might have been the last lefty that the Twins faced. 2 strikes to Mauer with Plouffe on deck. Inside. 1-2.
I think what I was thinking about is the fact that there's less and less left-handed starters in the game today. A lot of teams had 2 not too long ago, but it seems to be less of them.
And Mauer with a good at bat, dropping a single into center. Dozier will hold up at second base. Now the Blues do have back-to-back base runners on board, and the tying run coming to the plate, Trevor Plouffe.
The pitch right here from Robbie Ray, fastball that he just left over the middle of the plate. So has a lot better swing at this one.
Avila to the mound. Plouffe has hit a couple of fly balls, one to right, one to center.
Some activity now in the Tiger bullpen. Right-handers getting up.
Up the middle, off the glove of the pitcher. 1-6-4-3. And more tough luck for Trevor Plouffe, who's hit a lot of line drive outs. This was even worse, with Ray deflecting it to the shortstop to end the inning. By Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Don Kelly leading off the Detroit 6th inning. Count 1-1 from Samuel DeDuno, who is in fact asked to pitch another inning. Twins stretched him out a little bit in a relief outing, in relief of Mike Pelfrey, whose spot this was in the rotation. Got him up to the high 70s with pitches, and now into the high 80s starting the 6th inning.
Double barrel action in the Twins bullpen. Right-hander and a left-hander throwing right now.
2-2. Kelly with a bouncer to second and a fly ball to center. Pulled foul.
Omar Vizquel, former teammate of mine with the Cleveland Indians. He doesn't need a glove to catch a ball.
I recognize those soft hands anywhere. My goodness. He was about as good as it got, wasn't he, at short in his time?
Well, his hands were like magic.
Strike 3, a check swing, and Kelly rung up one away. Cincinnati Reds welcoming back Aroldis Chapman. He's the subject of our Sanford Health injury report. Hit in the head by a line drive in the middle of March. And the Reds could use him. They're 3 games below 500.
Good to see him back and throwing again.
High fly to right center. Hicks his way to Parmalee. Do you ever get hit in the head?
Never. Thank God. I ducked. I was too scared. Other parts of my body, but not my head.
Well, as long as you pitched and as long as Bert pitched, it's his claim too that he never got hit above the shoulders. This is amazing. All the pitches you guys threw, and you tend to see it. How many times have we seen a pitcher get hit by a line drive someplace already this year?
I asked Bert about that. In fact, it was after Chapman got hurt, and I asked him, I said, hey, did you ever get hit? And he said no. And we got to talking about it, and we both agreed that after a period of time, you actually get a sense of your release, where that ball's going to go, if they do make contact. And both of us, it's kind of eerie, but both of us understood what we were talking about, that sometimes there's just hitters that before it actually happens, you know what he's going to do with it. And a couple of those balls were, for me anyway, going to be headed right up the middle, and I was able to duck out of the way. Scary stuff.
1-1 to Avila, hit by a pitch his last time up. He's also walked. I would think pitching to somebody like Dave Winfield, or Bert talked about Frank Howard, big, imposing, and a big, long, wicked swing that if you left it out over the plate with Winfield, well, that would be one of those situations where you'd expect it to come right back at you.
You know, it's funny because I've said this to other players and pitchers, but I really mean this, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but the middle of the plate is where they're going to come back at you. And if you're hitting the corners, it tends to go right or left of you. And for no other reason than that alone, a pitcher should pay attention to the fact you don't throw it over the middle of the plate.
2-2 to Avila. And a strikeout and a very strong sixth inning for Deduno with a couple of strikeouts. Out so far.
Miguel Cabrera getting a hitter early in the game, scoring. Home run for Ian Kinsler. 3-1. Really, Robbie Ray's done a great job, and he'll be replaced now by right-hander Al Albuquerque. But Robbie Ray, 6 innings of no-run baseball.
And some good fortune along the way. Dozier at single, Bauer at single. Plouffe hit a smash up the middle. Ray got his glove on it, deflected it to the shortstop Romine, who started an inning-ending double play. And with Samuel DeDuno in the Twins dugout, the Tigers go into their bullpen and bring in Al Albuquerque again.
Albuquerque in 17 ball games for the Tigers. He's been that kind of bridge guy in the 6th, 7th inning where he comes in for an inning.
Ray has an opportunity to go 2-0 in the big leagues. ZRA was 1.69 coming into the game, and it has gone down.
It will go down now, yeah.
Colabello, Pinto, and Nunez, the 4, 5, and 6 batters. And again on this road trip, the middle of the lineup has been stymied. Colabello hit a home run in Cleveland. Colabello with a bouncer to short and a strikeout so far on the day. One and one. Grounded to third. Kelly slings it over to Cabrera. Twins 40-man roster has been an issue on this road trip, with the first Aaron Hicks on the 7-day concussion list. Sam Folk going on the list before Hicks came off. Mauer with his sore back and all that. And a lot of end results to all of that. But one of them was Kenny Wilson, who was briefly property of the Twins. Had to be taken off the 40-man roster to allow, I believe it was Parmalee to be added to it. And now the Blue Jays have reclaimed him. So another chapter in the life of Kenny Wilson. A very brief one. About, what, 2 weeks in the Twins organization.
It's long enough to learn the signs.
1-1 to Pinto. Pinto's hit the ball back to the mound twice. Fouled back.
Right where the official scorer sits, but the window was closed, so
why? Why? Half the windows in the writer's section
like
are
today.
closed. Yeah.
76 degrees, beautiful, beautiful day.
Down low, 2-2. Pinto getting a couple of days to catch his breath, maybe freshen up his bat a little bit. And he strokes one to left. He lunged for the pitch, made contact to single to left with one out. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 streaming sports service in America and is celebrating 12 years in business this year. Join the millions of subscribers who can watch every out-of-market game live in true high definition on more than 400 devices. Visit twinsbaseball.com today and check it out. Here's Eduardo Nunez, poked a single to left, his last time up. Nunez now 3 for 12 with the Twins. Obtained him to help out in the organization at short, but now back-to-back starts in left field because the pickings are pretty slim for outfielders these days. The Twins wanted to give Kubel an overdue break with an off day tomorrow. They just decided to make it 3 days in a row. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes doesn't mean that Kubel can't be used as a pinch hitter later on.
One of the reasons the Twins wanted to acquire Nunez is he's just an all-around athlete. He's very athletic and can run. Got a stolen base after that base hit in his last at bat.
2 strikes to Nunez. Checked his swing, 1-2. Nunez can play some at third base. And happy birthday to Miguel Sano, by the way, the third baseman of the future, if I may be so bold to say that. 21 years old today, recovering from Tommy John surgery.
You remember when you were 21?
Oh my gosh, Jack, it was such a long time ago.
My point is, we both have to think a little bit to remember where we were.
Fly ball to right. And Nunez retired out number 2. That'll bring up Parmalee. There's more concern about Byron Buxton, the other prospect for the Twins, and his wrist. He suffered a re-injury. Apparently he's going to have an MRI early next week. Brad Ausmus is going to bring in a left-hander to face Chris Parmalee. So Albuquerque faces 3 men, gives up Pinto's base hit, and will check out here in the 7th inning with the Tigers up 3-0.
On what is a travel day for the team heading back home to Minneapolis, and there is a dress code for players enforced on travel days. The same dress code is not enforced in AAA. Now, Chris Parmalee told me that on every road trip he has been on with the AAA Rochester Red Wings this season, he has packed 1 pair of dress pants, 1 dress shirt, and 1 pair of dress shoes, just in case. Jack and Dickie's going to need that outfit flying back to Minneapolis with the Twins.
Good for Chris. You know, he's been given really a second chance here after being taken off the 40-man roster, and not just a chance to come up and sit on the bench, but a chance to come up and play.
Yeah, this is a golden opportunity for him again. I think it's just good advice to always bring a sport coat and pair of pants. You never know who you're going to meet, or what concert you might have to attend, or whatever. So, good idea.
1-0 to Parmalee, facing left-handed reliever Ian Kroll. He's the other guy the Tigers got in the Doug Fister trade. I missed out last night, by the way. You'll look at Kroll's numbers. They're very good.
Yeah, they've gotten 2 very good contributions in that Fister trade. The other one was Steve Lombardozzi, who is not currently with the Tigers.
The Tigers ended up trading him. Then releasing the guy they traded.
Right. 12 days later.
Alex Gonzalez. 3-0 to Parmalee. Hicks on deck. He'd represent the tying run if Parmalee can reach. Strike 3-1. Cardozo sent to the Orioles, and he was just sent down off the 25-man roster before the Orioles came to town. 3-1 to Chris Parmalee. And a liner to right. Parmalee gets a knock. And Pinto will hold at second base. So a chance for Aaron Hicks. No, it's not. They're going to call him back. And Danny Santana is going to hit for Aaron Hicks.
Well, just a good piece of hitting right there. A ball that was left up off of Kroll, and Parmelee drills it to right. But this is interesting right here. We talked to Gardy before the game, and he said he might use Santana in center field. So we'll see if he's going to go out there after this at bat.
It's either going to be him or Jason Kubel, or the Kubel in a corner outfield spot.
Won't be Suzuki,
but it's not going to be Kurt Suzuki. He almost went out in the outfield earlier in the road trip. Here's Danny Santana pinch hitting for Aaron Hicks. Santana takes ball one. A disappointing road trip for the Twins, but without question, the appearance and emergence of Santana and the skills that he's flashed has been the highlight. To right field. Down for a hit. Pinto will be held at third. Oh. No, he's coming home. I saw Joe Vavra put the stop sign on, and then he saw Hunter conceding the run by throwing to Romine. And I assume Vavra told Pinto, go ahead and go. At any rate, the Twins are on the board on a pinch hit by Danny Santana.
Well, there's another element to his game, huh? A pinch hitter.
Santana 2 for 2 as a pinch hitter. His first major league at bat. It was a pinch hitting appearance in Cleveland, and he got an infield hit. This just a soft flare into right field.
Well, he gets enough of this ball and places it. He doesn't try to do too much with it. Making contact there. And Pinto just rounded the bag. You could see that Torrey Hunter was not going to make an effort to throw it home. So the Twins are on the board.
3 singles. The run charge to Albuquerque. Jeff Jones to the mound. And now Escobar, who promised you, Jack Morris, 2 doubles.
2 doubles. So this would be a good time right here.
Can't imagine a double that wouldn't score Santana from first. The Twins trying to come back in the late innings here. Had a threat in the 6th. So far have 1 run on the board here in the 7th. Checked his swing, ball 1. Escobar 15 at bats from this side of the plate, 4 hits including the double he picked up in the 3rd inning. One and 1. The hit by Santana, just the 7th hit on this road trip with a man in scoring position. And now Escobar trying to deliver one of his own. Top foul.
There is some activity in the Twins bullpen. I don't know if that means the end of the day for Samuel DeDuno, but really you can say Sam pitched a pretty darn good game today. He gave up 3 runs and had nothing to work with while he was in there other than this run now, but pretty good effort for Sam today.
Escobar strikes out to end the inning. Twins finally break through, getting 3 singles to score a run in the 7th against the Tiger bullpen. Over 40,000 fans here at Comerica Park. And on this very special day, as we wish everyone a happy Mother's Day, we also have the opportunity to bring you God Bless America.
Fans, at this time, we ask that you all please stand and join us in the singing of God Bless America, performed today by members of the Michigan Opera Theater Children's Chorus.
To the oceans, white with moon.
Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Twins trying to fight back in this one. It's a 3-1 ball game, and we'll see the Major League debut in the outfield of Danny Santana, who pinch hit for Aaron Hicks, delivered an RBI single. And now with Samuel Deduno out of the game, the Twins turn to their bullpen. Jared Burton pitching to Andrew Romine.
Deduno pitching 6 full innings, giving up 6 hits and 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk, but he did hit 1 batter, Alex Avila.
Foul back, 2 strikes. Romine, Davis, and Kinsler due up. And Romine, an awful looking swing and a quick strikeout, 1 away. We'll bring up Davis. In talking with Santana before the game today, we'll take a look at what was probably the changeup dipping down and away. Talking to Santana, he said in the low levels of Class A ball, he did spend about 15 games out in center field, a little bit in left field later on in his professional career. Davis over 2, a liner to second, a ground ball to third. Strike.
Well, again, flexibility is something managers love more and more of, and Danny Santana getting his opportunity to play in the outfield. But it's because of what he's doing at the plate that Gardy's encouraged to want to try to get him back in the lineup. Coming through with a nice base hit RBI, score the Twins' only run of the game.
2 strikes. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Side. And we talked about it earlier in this series. The Twins outfield defense has not been very good this year, and Santana, oddly enough, added to the outfield mix now because of his offense, not because of his defense, although he might do just fine out there, fouled away.
I'm hoping he gets a chance out there. I want to see something, see what he can do.
I asked Ron Gardenhire today about Santana's ability to go back on pop-ups, and said, well, yeah, he can run. That's why we're going to start thinking of him as an option in center field. And sure enough, later today, there he is in center field. 1 and 2. Rolled foul. So here we are, about a quarter of the way through the season, and we have a shortstop in center, another shortstop in left, and a guy who's off the 40-man roster in right field. 1 and 2. There's a pop-up to center. And Santana comes in, makes the catch in front of Escobar and Dozier.
You know, he was a little hesitant because he's looking at the shortstop and second baseman, but ultimately Danny takes charge. I've got it. I've got it.
There's a little professional respect you have to pay the shortstop, don't you, when you're a shortstop being asked to play out in center field?
Well, the rule of thumb is that the center fielder is the captain out there, and he can take charge of everything he can get to.
2 outs, and now Kinsler. Outside, ball 1. Now a ball lifted to left, and Eduardo Nunez is there to make that catch. A 1-2-3 7th for Jared Burton. It's a 3-1 ball game. Twins trying to steal one late against the Tiger bullpen, and the latest reliever to enter the game, right-hander Jabba Chamberlain.
Jabba in 15 games. He is pitched in yesterday's game against the Tigers, and yesterday he gave up 1 hit in 1 inning, struck out 2 hitters. So newest addition to the Tiger bullpen coming from the Yankees.
He'll face Dozier, Mauer, and Plouffe. He struck out Parmalee and Hicks yesterday, gave up the double, one of them, to Eduardo Escobar. And Chamberlain will face the top of the Twins' batting order. Starting with Dozier's at bat in the 6th inning, the Twins had 5 hits in 9 at bats. They were all singles. And they were able to get a run on the 7th on the pinch hit single by Danny Santana. Dozier had faced Chamberlain 3 times, gotten a hit, drew a walk, and now he's hit by a pitch. So that will get Mauer to the plate as the tying run.
See the replay here and where it might have hit him. It got him on the wrist, I believe. And that's all the Twins need, is to have another guy get hurt.
Dozier flexing his wrist. Looks like he's going to be okay. Avila might have been hit by the deflection. Mauer with 5 plate appearances against Chamberlain, 2 walks, 2 hits, one of them a home run. Mauer singled his last time up. Breaking ball over for a strike. One strike to Mauer. Missing inside, 1-1.
We talked about it yesterday. Jabba used to be a flamethrower. He came up in the Yankee system, and they've had him in the bullpen, had him as a starter, back in the bullpen, but at one time he could really bring it. That has changed somewhat. He's had to learn how to pitch a little more, using the breaking ball more than he did when he first came up. But Mauer has definitely had a good run with Jabba Chamberlain.
1-1. 2-1. Dozier, of course, a good base stealer. Twins, though, are down by 2 runs, not 1. Checked again. Dozier with 11 steals and 13 tries. 1 for 2 in stolen bases here today. Nunez stole second. Hicks was picked off trying to steal in the 3rd. Real good percentage. What we've seen, Jack, from Dozier is when he has gone, picking good pitches to go, a sense that a breaking pitch is coming.
And he's not a guy with tremendous.
There he goes.
Just another really good jump.
And a stolen base. Dozier, who got hit in the wrist. I guess he's smiling, couldn't tell if he was grimacing or what. Avila with a really good pitch and a pretty good throw, but the ball wasn't held. by Romine. Romine made the catch. That might have been a close play. 3-1 to Mauer. Nobody out. Twins trying to crawl back out of a 3-0 hole. And there's a walk that fills first base. 2 aboard for Plouffe. Twins haven't put a ball in play, but they've got a threat going here against Chamberlain. As promised earlier, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. You can tweet your photo to #NorthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in a broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Nico Koivu and his mom as the Wild get ready for Game 5 tonight in Chicago. And Teresa Mauer and Joe Mauer on Mother's Day.
Pitching coach Jeff Jones is out there trying to settle down Jabba Chamberlain. Chamberlain, like we mentioned, hit the leadoff man Brian Dozier and now follows up with a walk. So misfiring here so far. Twins getting a chance to maybe get back in this ball game.
Plouffe could use some good fortune. He's got a couple of outfield flies, and then after a pair of 1-out singles by Dozier and Mauer, Plouffe may have hit the hardest ball of the inning, but it was off the glove of the pitcher, deflecting to the shortstop. Romine then started an inning-ending double play. On the outside corner, a strike. Kind of the way May has gone for Trevor. I think he's probably hit the ball harder than anybody in the Twins lineup this side of Danny Santana. He just hasn't had much to show for it.
That particular play, the starting pitcher Robbie Ray was
check swing and another called strike. 0-2.
Yeah, Robbie was still in the game. And another thing to watch for, if you're a young pitcher and Robbie's in line to win this game, he can't lose it. He's another guy that finishes up very well defensively. He's the fifth infielder after he releases the ball, and that one just got enough of the ball to deflect it for a double play that really took the Twins out of a scoring opportunity.
1-2. Trevor trying to battle here, falling behind 0-2 and a couple of called strikes. Checked his swing. Strike 3. Clint Fagan, I think, called it a strike on the outside corner. I don't think he called the check swing. And Plouffe is gone for the first out of the inning.
We get to see this replay here. That ball clearly outside, and we don't have the side angle right there in that shot, but I think you're absolutely right. Home plate umpire decided just to call it a strike. Didn't ask for help from first base umpire Marty Foster. So
that was appeared wide of the strike zone. Here's Colabello, and the Twins need to get something out of this here with Chamberlain putting 2 runners aboard. Nice dig by Avila, ball 1. Ron Gardenhire ejected from the game. Terry Steinbach, the acting manager. Can't argue balls and strikes, so there's really not much that Terry could do, but it seemed like a very generous strike zone during the Plouffe at bat. 1-0 to Colabello. And a strike. Wind blowing in from center field.
I think if Chris had been looking for that pitch, he would have jumped all over it. He probably looking fastball there. Got a hanging breaking ball from Chamberlain. Of course, that's followed up by one of those nasty ones.
Awkward swing and a miss. 1-2. Trying to pitch out of a mess. Completely his own doing. Hitting the first batter, walking the next. He struck out Plouffe. It's ahead of Colabello now, 1-2. 2-2. Bello, the team leader in runs batted in with 30. Got a chance to deliver a big hit here in the 8th inning. Chamberlain gesturing he wanted some new signs. Colabello had seen enough. He got time.
We also were mentioning in the last night's game about Joe Mauer and his ability to run bases. He told Gardy he's fine, but this would be a chance for him to try to get to third, maybe even score on an extra base hit.
2 down. No one's put a ball in play yet here in the 8th inning. We'll see what Pinto can get done.
Chamberlain going back to the breaking ball, and it was a good one. Colabello could not lay off of it. Swung over the top.
Pinto on the day hooked a single into left after hitting a couple of comebackers to Ray. Ball 1. Pinto's last home run came against the Tigers and Al Albuquerque at Target Field. One and 0. 2-0. Chamberlain throwing a lot of breaking pitches in this outing.
17 pitches already. 2 outs into his inning.
7 strikes. Two and 0 to Pinto. Strike. 2-1. Three and 1. Nunez on deck.
No activity in the Tiger bullpen, which would indicate that Brad Ausmus is going to let Jabba get out of his own mess here.
Walk would put the tying run in scoring position. Now Bauer will be helped at first. For that matter, Dozier will be helped at second. Full count, 2 outs. The runners will leave early. Three and 2. Chamberlain to Pinto. Stroked solidly but foul. And Avila to the mound to deliver a new baseball. Then don't leave one there again. Another 3-2. Line to left, a base hit. Dozier will score. Mauer to third. The ball gets by Davis, and Mauer will score. Pinto to second, and the Twins have tied it up. Rajai Davis looked up, and the ball bounced right by him. Pinto with a great at bat, and it's a 3-3 game.
They're going to give Rajai Davis an error on that. All questions we had about Joe Mauer's running. He was going to third, and he got there quickly. He was going to be easily into third base. You see Pinto hooking this ball. Solid base hit to left field, and then whoops. Rajay not getting in front of that ball. Still one of those mental mistakes. He had time to put his body in front of it. Tried to backhand it. Maybe he was going to try to make a great throw, and ultimately the Twins tie this game.
Nunez takes ball one. Former teammate of Chamberlain's with the Yankees. They were catching up on the batting cage today. In yesterday's game, Nunez facing Chamberlain, and he took one to the warning track. That was caught by Don Kelly. 1-0 to Nunez. 2-0. Pinto will get credit for 1 run batted in. Pair of hits for the Twins catcher. And a big moment for Pinto facing the veteran Chamberlain and delivering. Up and away. 3-0. Parmalee on deck. A run in the 7th and a pair so far here in the 8th. Down the middle of strike. Liner and a base hit. Pinto to third. He's being waved in. Throw to the plate. Cut off by Cabrera. And now Nunez is hung out to dry. But the Twins strike for 3 runs. Pinto scoring from second. And the Twins take the lead against Jabba Chamberlain. Game Friday night, Jamie, and asked Casey Fiend to pitch the 8th inning. He will face the same 3 batters he sent down quickly on 8 pitches Friday night. Torrey Hunter, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez. He got Hunter on a ground ball, Cabrera on a fly ball, Martinez on a ground ball, and did all of that in a key spot on a total of 8 pitches. And he'll face Hunter, Cabrera, and Martinez with the Twins now up a run. Hunter 0 for 3. A couple of ground balls and a fly ball.
Torrey hitting .250 off of Casey Fiend. He's 1 for 4. Lifetime.
First pitch popped up right side. Dozier tracks it and makes the catch, 1 away. The word is out on Casey Fiend. Everybody knows he's going to throw the cutter.
Yep, and everybody knew for 20 years that Mariano Rivera was going to throw the cutter. It didn't matter, so.
Fiend came to the Twins from the Tigers. A waiver claim, didn't have the cutter then, but it has caused him to essentially take what was Jared Burton's spot in the bullpen. And having said that, Burton had a clean 7th inning today as well. Here's Cabrera.
Well, they're going through the big boppers right here. Cabrera hitting .600 lifetime off of Casey Fiend. He's 3 for 5 with a home run.
Fiend got him Friday night to hit a fly ball to Hicks in center field. 1 strike. Two strikes.
That was a good one right there.
You could see from up here the lateral movement. It was still at 88 miles per hour.
Mariano was throwing his at about 97 when he was young, and it ended up about 92. But
that was the 4-seam fastball there. Showed it to him. Punch to right, a base hit. Cabrera dropping it down the line, and he lumbers to first and will hold up there. Now he's trying for second, and Parmelis throws closer to third base than second. An outfield error opened the door for the Twins, and now an outfield error opens one for Detroit.
Miguel Cabrera doing what he does to earn that big money. Pressure situation, game on the line. Taking this ball to right field and then advancing to second on a bad throw out by the outfield.
Davis misplayed Pinto's base hit. Parmelis misplays Cabrera's. A lot of other hitters. This might have been a double anyway, but Cabrera doesn't run well.
No, looks like he's slowing down too. He was actually going to stop at first base, but this is what happened here when Parmelis went to pick up the ball. And then he airmails it over the head of the cutoff man. So
tying run at second, 1 out. Victor Martinez hit a ground ball to Dozier Friday night. The Twins hope for the same result here on a Sunday afternoon. Then behind Martinez, Don Kelly.
Martinez 333 lifetime, 1 for 3. He's got a double off of Casey Fiend.
Outside, ball 1. RSoup.com trivia question: which 2 players hold the all-time highest RBI total for a duo in a single season? Gehrig and Ruth, not in 1927, but in 1931.
Only 347 RBI combined.
1-0 to Victor Martinez. Let's remember who's in the Twins outfield. Parmelis just made the error, but you've got a pair of typical shortstops in left and center in Eduardo Nunez and Danny Santana. 1-1.
Parmelis, a former first baseman.
Fiend steps off. "15 innings for Casey Fiend, now 10 strikeouts. And this guy, one of the tougher strikeouts in the league. On the outside corner. 1-2. We told you about it, I think, Friday. Victor Martinez went nearly an entire year without taking a called third strike. Duduno got him in the 5th inning. That was just his 6th strikeout in 122 at bats. And Fiend hoping to get him again here. 1-2. Just off the plate. 2-2. And has a slugging percentage of .588, and he's only struck out 6 times.
This is the ball game here. He needs to make it out.
3-2. Kelly on deck.
Martinez represents the go-ahead run. You never want to put him on base.
Full count to the Tiger DH. That hits Fiend, and he throws it in the dirt, and Colabello is able to dig it out, and now Fiend apparently got drilled in his pitching arm by the line drive. We're just talking about line drives and how many times this year we've seen pitchers get hit. And Fiend clearly had a hard time making the short throw to first base. High on the arm, maybe up around the shoulder. And that's a heck of a play by Colabello, who didn't expect the ball to land halfway between him and Fiend.
Well, Casey's not going to be able to finish. They're going to get a left-hander. It's probably going to be, well, I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I think it looked like Rick Anderson was indicating he wanted to get a left-hander out there, and whoever that left-hander is going to get all the time he needs on the mound.
Brian Dunsing hasn't pitched in this series, but we're told it's Glenn Perkins who is getting up out of the bullpen, and one of the rare opportunities for Perkins to get a 4-out save. He's got the tying run at third with 2 away. Glenn Perkins will be warming When Perkins got the save in the 9th inning on Friday night, he will have as much time as he needs to warm up with Casey Fiend taken out of the game because of an injury. Friday night, Perkins struck out 2, gave up a pair of doubles. He did to face the first man he'll face here in the 8th inning, hopefully the only man he'll face, Nick Castellanos. Casey Fiend, way back at the beginning of the season in Chicago, took one off the ankle that turned into an out.
Got a lucky break the way that ball deflected, but that didn't feel too good as he limped off the field on a cold day in the Windy City.
Today it looked like he got drilled in the upper arm.
You could tell he couldn't even grip the ball. He threw it. It's just a great job by Colabello to pick that ball and prevent Martinez from standing on first base.
Twins strength and conditioning guru is Perry Castellano. No relation, of course, to Nick Castellanos. And it will be Castellanos who will hit here. He struck out against Perkins Friday night, but he got a chance to look at him for the first time. Miguel Cabrera, the runner at third. And while all of this has been going on, I've thought about Terry Steinbach. You know, when you're the acting manager because the regular manager was ejected, whatever happens, you want to win the game, of course, but whatever happens, you'd like to just have it happen in orderly fashion. Well, apparently it was Steinbach who made the call to get Perkins in to get the final out of the 8th. There were some other options. Brian Dunsing hasn't pitched in this series yet.
Well, this is a situation that you need to prevent the run, so you can go to your best guy. Typically, the save is so glorified for the closer now, only pitching the 9th inning, and a lot of times you don't want a certain pitcher to come in with inherited runners. But in my opinion, if you get the glamour of being the closer, you better be able to get outs in tough situations, and that's what they're going to ask Glenn Perkins to do right now.
Perkins, I think, is ready. Castellanos will hit for Don Kelly, who had gone 0 for 3. Castellanos at 248.
Well, Glenn Perkins thrown a lot of fastballs this year. Castellanos pretty good fastball hitter. He likes to go the other way. The Twins right now are playing him pretty much straight away.
Down and away, ball 1. Popped up center field. Santana over toward the gap. It's Parmalee giving way to Santana. Perkins gets the last out of the 8th. He just needs to get 3 more. Quite a ball game here in Detroit. First 3 runs went to the Tigers, and the Twins held without much of anything against Robbie Ray until the Twins got into the Tiger bullpen. They struck for 4. Nick Castellanos, the new third baseman, he hit a fly ball to end the 8th inning. And now Evan Reed will come out of the Tiger pen to pitch to the bottom third of the Twins lineup. It'll be Parmelee, Santana, and Escobar hitting for the Twins in the 9th inning. Reed pitched 2/3 of an inning here on Friday night. Dozier touched him for a single, but then was thrown out trying to steal. And he also retired Kurt Suzuki. Chris Parmelee with a single his last time up, 1 for 3 on the day. Outside, ball 1.
Twins could use a few base runners here, try to add that lead. Glenn Perkins going to have to shut down the Tigers to get the save here.
Parmelee swings and misses, and I guess the optimistic note is that this is what has happened now to the Twins' bottom of the order. It's been much more plausible to expect the bottom guys to get on base. Santana's provided a spark down there. Escobar hitting over 300 now.
Parmelee with a base hit today.
Yeah, he's 4 for 11.
He's doing quite well. Good speed after him and Santana and Escobar, so it could very well happen. But Twins in position right here to get out of town, winning a series in Detroit. That would be a whole lot of smiles on an airplane anyway.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. Talked about it the other night, and I can't begin to explain it. Tigers have clearly had the better team the last couple of years against the Twins, but the Twins have played remarkably well here in Detroit over the last 2 years. 2-2 to Parmelee. Where was that? 3-2.
You talk about the game, and sometimes it is a game of luck. We were talking about Trevor Plouffe's misfortune. It happened with a ball that could have gone up the middle for an RBI and went off the pitcher's glove, and then Martinez had the same thing happen, only it hit KC Fiend, but that was an RBI.
Parmelee strikes out, 1 down. We'll bring up Santana. Not counting today's game, in the last 21 games here at Comerica Park, the Twins have won 11 of them. They've got a winning record here and a much better record here than they do in their own ballpark. So figure that out.
Go figure, yeah.
Here's Santana. He did it again. A pinch hitting appearance in the 7th as a right-handed batter. And he pushed a single into right to put the Twins on the board, 3-1. Showing bunt, taking a strike. Santana is a right-handed batter, 2 for 4. Is a left-handed batter, 6 for 14. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Healthy swing right there.
Got a little bit of pop. He's hit some minor league home runs. Two strikes from Reed to Santana. Jack this way. Santana coming into the year with just over 2,000 professional at bats and 25 home runs. Never more than 8 in a season. One and two from Reed to Santana. That'll reach the seats. what the Twins saw from Pedro Florimon was just way too many strikeouts, having a hard time even making contact. And Santana, 18 at bats, 3 strikeouts. But the Twins will take a double and exchange that for a strikeout anytime. He's also got 3 doubles. Down and in, 2-2.
Well, you mentioned it, Dick, and I've noticed it too, that he's taking some pitches. He's not afraid to hit a little behind in the count, although it's worked to his advantage by taking to work a count in his favor.
And Reed strikes him out. 2 down. And that'll bring up Escobar.
Good breaking ball here from Evan Reed.
Escobar with a double and 3 trips. Up and away, ball 1. 1 run for the Twins in the 7th. 3 in the 8th. Twins trying to pick up their 3rd win on this road trip. All 3 would be low-scoring games. Unless the Twins score here in the top of the 9th, all 3 would be 1-run wins. 1-1. 1-2. Robbie Ray won't get his 2nd major league win, even though he threw 6 shutout innings today. Escobar takes check swing, 2-2.
Conversely, Samuel Duduno will not be pinned with an L.
Right.
The Twins came back that 3-run age.
And Escobar gets a base hit. He's got 2 hits today. We'll hold up with a single. Sorry, Jack, just 1 double maybe today.
I'll let him get away with that. That's hitting 500 for the day. Just continues to swing a good bat.
Dozier singled in the 6th after a couple of flies to center. Then he was hit by a pitch by Jabba Chamberlain. And that led off the 8th inning, and by inning's end, the Twins had taken the lead. I would think there's a decent chance that Escobar would take off here. 1 steal in his only try. Throw over. Twins are 2 for 3 in stolen bases today. 7 steals, 7 throwouts. It's a pretty good percentage. Down and away, ball 1. The word on Casey Fiend, he has a right shoulder contusion. Now I know right where the X-ray room is between the clubhouses, so I'm guessing that means he had the arm X-rayed. There was no break. He's just going to be sore.
Day to day, yeah, it's a bruise.
1-0 to Dozier.
Very large crowd here at Comerica. Another crowd of 40,000 plus. Pretty quiet right here, right now.
1-0 to Dozier. Long hold. Escobar stays put. The pitch is up 2-0. When you steal bases as successfully as the Twins have, when they're roughly stealing at about 80% success, that's outstanding. You know, Reed's out there and he's, you know, trying to get through the inning here, but he can lose his focus a little bit to a guy who has 9 home runs and also takes walks. Ball strike. The Red Sox, Twins' next opponent, are stealing at about a 50% rate. John Farrell says, you know, maybe we should just not even try to steal bases anymore. %. I remember late in his career, that was Molitor's career number, which is just phenomenal. It's 10% better than good. And he did it for his whole career. And that's all part of not just having leg speed, but having a sense for the game.
Absolutely. And knowing count situations where you are more apt to have that pitcher forget about you, throw home quickly, avoid the slide step, all those things.
2-1 to Dozier. And Escobar goes, and the pitch is outside, and Avila's throw out at second base. A one-hop throw, wasn't a particularly good one, but Kinsler caught the hop and dropped the tag. Escobar thrown out. Glenn Perkins will try to get outs 2, 3, and 4.
Steinbeck is
Terry
walking
Steinbach's
out there.
coming out to maybe take a look at this.
I don't know if he's going to get out there in time, though. Home plate umpires now telling Reed that he's going to have to go back out there and bring his teammates back on the field. Because
And
it looks like Terry's going to at least buy time to argue it.
Well, and Terry, the Twins saw what we just showed you on replay. The Kinsler did put the tag on the hip before Escobar's foot got on the bag. So Perkins will try to complete the 9th inning and get the save. His first 4-out save of the year. And he will face Austin Jackson, Alex Avila, and Andrew Romine. Perkins, it would be save number 10 on the season. Jackson led off the 9th Friday night against Perkins with a double. Hooking the ball into the left field corner. 1 strike.
Jackson's hit Glenn Perkins quite well.
To center. Santana comes in a few steps. One down. A day off tomorrow, and then Felix Dubron will go for the Red Sox. Ricky Nolasco for the Twins. The Twins have a 6-game homestand. 3 with the defending world champs, 3 with the Mariners. Our Century linked to what's next. By the way, the Twins have in Fox Sports North decided to televise all 3 games of that Boston series. The Thursday afternoon game was not on the original schedule. Alex Avila. Friday night against Perkins. Avila slashed a double off the glove of Jason Kubel in left field to drive in a run. 1 strike. Starts him with a fastball. One and one. Slider down and away.
JD Martinez is in the on-deck circle, so it appears that Rod Osmus is going to have him pinch hit for Andrew Romine.
To left. Nunez drifting to the corner, makes a foul ball catch. Well, my regular partner aside, most people seem to think that shortstops are the best athletes on the team. And the Twins have one in left and another one out in center, and they're getting challenged here early.
They're doing their job. They're converting adequately to left and center in this particular game.
Last 3 outs have been hit to Danny Santana and Eduardo Nunez. 2 down. Martinez will bat. Perkins got him to pop up to Dozier in the 9th inning on Friday. Outside, ball 1. Martinez, a power hitter. The power showed up in Toledo this year. Hasn't shown up with the big league club yet. Outside, 2-0. Popped up right side, tracked by Colabello in foul ground. He lost it.
He gave up on it because he heard footsteps of his teammate, second baseman Brian Dozier. But I don't know if there was communication there. I didn't see Dozier calling him off. He just gave way at the very end. So
it landed right behind him, Jack.
Yeah, he's got it all the way. And it doesn't appear that he's missing the ball. But just quit right there. So Glenn Perkins going to have to try it one more time.
2-1. Now to right. Parmalee is there on the edge of the warning track, and the Twins take 2 out of 3 from the Tigers. Thought it was a 4-out save for Glenn Perkins. Turns out it was a 5-out save, and the Twins impressively come back to beat the Tigers. Jamie, win this series 2-1, and it ended up being a 3-4 road trip.